4 young girls killed. A cold case with no leads. 6 years later, no arrests, not even any apparent suspects. When was the last time you talked to an investigator?
Some years, I'm going to say.
So why won't law enforcement talk about the Flora fire?
It's time for you guys to start being journalists.
The head of the Indiana State Police telling Fox 59 more than 6 years after the deadly Flora fire, the investigation has developed very little information. The fire happened in November of 2016 and killed 4 sisters.
Kiana Davis, Kiera Phillips, Carrie Ellie McDonald, and Keani Welch. They all died in the fire. Investigators since have said it was arson. Police have never made an arrest of anyone in the case.
Almost from the beginning, rumors about that have been pretty persistent up in Flora that Galen Rose had some hand in, some role in that fire that killed her 4 daughters. The state police superintendent told me that's not true. In our interview just a few days ago, Superintendent Carter told me that Rose was not a suspect. Is Galen Rose considered a suspect in this case? She is not. That's the first time we've heard that.
I love them so much.
Rose is the mother of the 4 girls killed in the November 2016 blaze. She has been the subject of persistent rumors in Flora that she may have had a hand in the fire.
Can't no man nor woman ever in this world tell you how much you love your children. Can't no man nor house judge you on but what you do for your children and how you love your babies.
Vergon runs a private fire investigation business.
The discovery of the smoke.
He was hired to look into the Flora fire by attorneys for Galen Rose, who's filed a wrongful death suit against the home's owners. Inside the deeply charred apartment, Vergon looked for clues on how the fire started and for smoke detectors.
We found one.
And can you tell us where you found it?
That was in the second level of the residence, on a landing actually, and there was no battery in it. The condition this was in, there should have been a battery still in it if the battery had been present.
State law requires every dwelling have at least one functional smoke detector. For rental properties, that's the responsibility of the owner, manager, or rental agent. Hunting for the source of the fire, Vergon took a long look at the kitchen where the fire damage was intense.
Looking at patterns.
Getting extra attention by Vergon, appliances, the range, the refrigerator.
Look at the fire patterns in relation to the damage on the cords. Is there insulation left on the cords? Is there no insulation left on the cords?
But the cords were in good shape. The source of the fire, not electrical. Maybe the most important information cited in Vergon's report is from the man who first rushed into the smoke-filled building, Adam Ayers.
He was there first before the police or the fire department. First person to go in the house other than the family.
Ayers, a neighbor, told investigators he crawled into the dining room to get to the stairs leading to the girls' upstairs bedroom. But in the nearby kitchen, he saw a 2-inch wide path of fire on the floor that led into the back porch area.
So he got a pretty good view and described it in detail.
Did anybody else see this other than him?
No, he's the only one.
The combination of the narrow trail of flame and burn patterns found in and near the back porch were critical in Vergon's conclusion.
We came to our determination that it was a set fire.
How confident are you that that fire was intentionally set?
100% confident.
Another of our questions for Superintendent Carter involves the other big Carroll County investigation, the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German.
We believe you are hiding in plain sight.
Which happened just 3 months after the Flora fire. Fox 59 has previously reported that while state police released to the public evidence, audio and video recordings in the Delphi murder investigation to generate tips, the same had not been done in the Flora fire case, which has not yet had an arrest.
Investigated that fire.
We asked the superintendent why the different approaches.
The analogy that they're the same, and that was something that was perpetuated by your story, is just simply inaccurate. That's not true. Connecting an arson with very little information to a homicide that's developed over 80,000 tips it's an unfair analogy or an unfair comparison between the two.
But people up there see them as similar. They're horrible events resulting in deaths of young girls.
We can't make things happen. We can't make people talk to us.
It's time for you guys to start being journalists.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Sunday morning, the 5th of November. Remember the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason and plot. Guy Fawkes, poor fella, was found in a cellar and afterwards found it red hot. We learned that rhyme at school. It's Guy Fawkes Day today here in the UK. I don't know how that translates in other countries, but basically people celebrate the burning at the stake of Guy Fawkes, who tried to take down the government in, I don't remember the year, 16 something. Anyway, yeah, we're celebrating burning someone at the stake. But yet people complain about the death penalty. I see some kind of disconnect there. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about Guy Fawkes. I'm here to talk about the Flora fires. You saw at the beginning probably one of the biggest intros I've ever done, ever. And we do need to talk about the Flora fire in relation to the Delphi case. For those of you who don't know what the Flora fire is, and were confused by the intro, let me give you an intro after the intro. 4 little girls were killed in a house fire. Their mother escaped. She tried desperately to save them, regardless of what Patrick Westfall said. Patrick Westfall, one of the Vinlanders, you know, one of the ordinists mentioned in the 136-page memorandum from Richard Allen's defence, or should I say ex-defence. We'll get on to the memorandum in a moment or two, because it seems that the Flora fire is mentioned in there. Or is it? Well, we'll sort that out when we get to it. Patrick Westfall says that Galen Rose, who's the 4 little girls' mother, just stood there on the lawn, because Patrick Westfall used to live in Flora. And Flora's only about 9 miles away from Delphi, where Patrick Westfall has also lived. And although Patrick has denied being racist, he has said that it would be inappropriate for someone to try to join the Vinlanders who had a relationship with someone from another race, because the Vinlanders are only for white European people, or European descent. Okay, this is a TikTok that I made a few days ago. According to Richard Allen's 136-page defence memorandum, it states that in police reports, Brad Holder told his wife that Patrick Westfall and his Odinist gang had murdered the girls because one of their mothers had a relationship outside her own race.
Tons of different kind of bears, but you don't see polar bears going out and being in relationships and breeding with black bears.
What about the grizzly bear? A grizzly polar bear hybrid. So Patrick's analogy of different species of bears is nonsense, because polar bears and grizzly bears interbreed, and even though they're different species, they are sufficiently similar chromosomally, genetically, to produce offspring called the grizzly bear or the pizzly bear or the growler bear or whatever. But these things are... It's like dogs and wolves can interbreed because they are almost genetically identical. Zebras and horses can interbreed. Horses and donkeys can interbreed, although their offspring are usually infertile because they're a little bit more distant. But you're not here for a biology lesson. You're here to talk about the Flora fire. So the early hours of the 21st of November 2016, this fire broke out in Flora, 9 miles away from Delphi. So Galen Rose got out, but her little girls didn't, and the screams have haunted the people who heard them. You know, people tried desperately to save them, and they all perished in the fire. And to this day, there has been no suspects, although Galen Rose, to people around, was considered a suspect. But what you saw in the intro was Doug Carter, that you'll know Doug from the Delphi case, saying she is definitely not a suspect. Not a suspect. There are no suspects in this case. But Doug says he can't get people to talk to him. Well, yeah, that seemed to have been an issue in the Delphi case as well, doesn't it? Which perhaps is why 22 days before an election, they just decided to arrest Richard Allen, who had come forward and talked to them. But, so what is the relationship between the Flora fire and the Delphi case? Is there a relationship? Well, it appears that some people think there might be. This is page 57 of the memorandum. Amber Holder, who was the wife of Brad Holder at the time, when interviewed a second time, Amber discussed another conversation she had with Brad Holder. She had gone to Brad Holder's house to visit him. When the children were upstairs, she inquired about Patrick Westfall, under the ruse that Amber's girlfriend had a date with Patrick. This is what's contained on page 10 of the Odin report. Brad became very nervous and told her she needed to stay away from Westfall. Remember, Brad and Patrick were best buddies. Patrick Westfall, in an interview with Sleuth Intuition, said that Patrick and Brad fell out when Patrick gave him an ultimatum because he'd found out that Brad was going to church, a Christian church, at the same time as practicing Asatru, so the Norse pagan heathenry religion. He gave Brad an ultimatum, and Brad chose the Christian church, even though to this day there's not one mention of Christianity that I can see on his Facebook. Although, the posting of runes and Asatru stuff was a regular thing on his Facebook. So if he chose Christianity over pagan heathenry, why does he not talk about Christianity on his Facebook? I don't know. Brad became very nervous and told her she needed to stay away from Westfall or she would end up dead. She said that Brad told her Westfall and his crew was responsible for the murder of the girls in Delphi and a fire that killed 2 girls. I asked her if she knew of the fires in Flora that killed 4 girls. So 3 months before, Abby and Libby were murdered. She said she was not familiar with any fires that killed any children until Brad mentioned it. She said Brad may have been talking about the fire, but I got the number of killed wrong. She said Brad told her that Westfall and his crew had friends in several states and they had no problem killing race traders. I asked her to clarify race traders, and she said she believed it meant white people who mix with other races, like polar bears mixing with grizzly bears or black bears or koala bears or Paddington bears, or I don't know. Good God, I don't know. Right. Amber said that Brad told her that Westfall belonged to a group called the Vinlanders and 22. Brad told her that Westfall had many people backing him up and powerful friends. She said that Brad was very nervous while telling her these things and was whispering like he was fearful someone else would hear him. She said that throughout the conversation, Brad was constantly telling her to stay away from Westfall. He also told her that Patrick had killed a lot of people, and it didn't matter if they were innocent or not. Amber truly believes Brad is scared of Westfall. Prior to Amber leaving, she said that Brad told her to stay off Westfall's radar. Am I on your radar, Patrick? Do you have people in the UK who could come and get me? Can we have a fight? Can we have a fight? And said, I can only protect you so much if you keep asking questions. He also told her that if Westfall found out that she was married to him and she would be in danger. Brad also questioned her on why Westfall was going on a date as he was under the impression Westfall was married or engaged to someone. All right, well, it was a ruse. Anyway, all right. So the Flora fires killed 4 little girls. So did he have the number wrong, or was it there was another fire? that Patrick was involved in. I went to the good people of Reddit. You know what Reddit's like. It's like a little rabbit hole in all in itself. And, you know, when I take on the persona of Alice, then Reddit becomes my favourite place. Let's see some things that have been discussed on Reddit. Let's look at some other fires. All right. In Indiana. All right. Well, we've got the Flora fire, November 21st, 2016, killed 4 little girls. What about the Logansport fire, September 9th, 2018? And in that fire, we've got a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old killed. So that's a boy and a girl. And I guess it depends when Amber and Brad had that conversation. Just 2 months after that, though, there was another Logansport fire, which killed an entire family. Then in 2021, now these are too late to be Brad and Amber talking, but interesting nonetheless, the Miami County fire, which killed 3 children. And then we've got the Frankfurt fire in 2022, which killed 2 children. And then we've got the Monticello fire, which killed Stephanie Thompson, who was a polygrapher who it is alleged to have done the polygraphs for the people connected to the Delphi case. And that also killed her teenage daughter. 1 ruled an arson, the Flora, and then 5 undetermined. I just thought that was interesting. All fires started in the early hours, most between 1 and 4 a.m. All fires occurred within a radius of approximately 25 miles from Flora. Causes undetermined. Overall, 16 juveniles were killed, 15 of which were under the age of 12. All coincidences, maybe. Well, get this. All right. The good people of Reddit found this. Let's put the reward over there. Let's have a look at this. So this was last month. It's also pretty interesting that the little group celebrated a blow, I think it's pronounced blow, at Patrick Westfall's the same night as the Flora fire. So this was the 20th of November. Now, the fire happened in the early hours of the 21st, so it's the same night, the 20th into the 21st. I've only ever really heard of the sacrifice used being alcohol or food of some sort in blows, but it still stood out to me. Hopefully this link will work. It did work. Patrick Westfall is aka Jaeger Turson, and I believe Rachel Miller is his girlfriend. Okay, all right, let's have a look here. This is Brad Holder from 2016, 20th of November. We had a blowout today here at Jaeger Turson's house. Thanks, Rachel Miller, for coming out. Hail the gods, hail Odin's children, hail the tribe of Gundry's path, and hail to all my brothers and sisters online. If you know anything about the Flora fires, the Indiana State Police are offering the fantastically mega sum of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest of the persons responsible for this fire. Somebody knows, and I think, my just personal opinion, think somebody connected to the Vinlanders knows. Just my opinion. 1-800-382-4628. 4 little girls, but over 6 fires since 2016. 15 juveniles under the age of 12 and 1 aged 17. Within a 25-mile radius of Flora. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.